So here we go. We're going to assemble the driver's side. And so the first step will be to take the short bolt, the lock washer, go through.
And that's one thing to reiterate. It's the short bolt and the shorter 250 thousandths spacer.
Yep. And then
let's go ahead and get this guy.
Get that one in.
And there's just a little bit of difference, but what you want to do is check yourself, get these guys in there, and look and see. Look at the threads. It's going to be really close there.
And we got this. We previously started the bolt and the lock nut, which are all included in the kit. Everything that you need's in the kit.
So now, like we talked about, we're going to take the bracket. Then you just tighten those guys up. Okay, now we're over to the passenger side, and we're going to show you a few little differences on here. So once again, we're going to put get our bolt started on there. So now we get that through there, just quite one up here. Now, once again, I'm going to reiterate that the biggest difference is you want to use the same bottom hole towards the bottom of the spindle, but we're going to use the inboard hole, the upper hole right there. So let's go ahead and get that. If you can kind of support that for me, I'll get that started. And just to say it again, inner hole on the passenger side, outer hole on the driver's side.
Yep.
And one thing I also want to say is you can run the original steel wheels with this disc brake.
That's correct, yeah. There's a lot of rumors out there to the contrary that the stock wheels won't fit, and so we took the time to verify, and it's just fine.
Now we're going to move on to the rotors. We've got them laid out here. They're drilled. They are milled on here. These come with the kit, so let's go ahead and take a look right now.
There's a race that's pre-installed on the rotor. I just like to go around and check to make sure it is seated all the way.
And just a little tappa-tappa.
A little gentle.
So we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of grease. And we'll put it around the race. And if you're not familiar with the race is the seal or the surface that the bearing sits on.
That the bearing rolls on. It's replaceable. Mm-hmm. So as it wears, you can knock it out and replace it when you replace the bearing. Flip it over.
Mm-hmm. And we have a larger diameter one on the other side. We're going to go ahead and do a little tappa-tappa. Do his tap dance.
Since you got the glove on, Bob, drop one of the large bearings in that we already packed.
So we already packed those, and we do that by putting grease in your hand, and then you shove it and roll it.
Kind of with a motion. I'm using the seal as an example, but the larger diameter side of the bearing, have a little pile of grease in your hand, and you just kind of rake it in until it comes out the other side.
And what it does is that gets all the grease in the little rollers of the bearing. And so you can go ahead and take it, larger diameter. Once again, this is all included in the kit. Not the grease. You have to get your own grease.
Use whatever grease you prefer. And now we've got the wheel seal. Set it in just like that. And then
we'll take super hammer.
You can hear that it's ringing.
Yeah, it's another situation we find where the sound, you'll be able to recognize it. So. This is, once again, the driver's side. Take that bad boy.
Set it on the spindle.
And we've already greased the race. And we're going to slide it right over the nose of that spindle, over the threaded area. And you're going to feel it's a nice tight fit. It's not going to flop over there. So we get down in there.
And we have our special spacer or washer that comes in the kit. And You can see this side here is counterbore or rebated, and that goes towards the bearing. The flat side faces out. We drop it on just like that, and we have our nut, and our universal wrench here.
Turn it.
Turn it, then try to find the cotter pin hole, which I neglected to find earlier, and right about there.
Finally, we've got our dust cap, and that'll go on there. Little quick taps. Next step in installing the disc brake kit, we're going to put the calipers on. So we're going to take one side right here, and the calipers, first thing you want to look at is the orientation of the bleeder screw. So that's with the hydraulic system in there, so when you bleed the brakes and when you get it all set up and we have it all plumbed, you want to make sure that is going to the sky. We're going to slide this bad boy on.
So these are going to be the bolts that you take out when you service the brakes to replace the pads.
Crank that guy down. Yet another thing we'll check with that. And there you go.